It's not the tools that make you a more accomplished artist, but the tools can actually influence the mood of your drawing, the vibe, the feeling you want to bring into it. In today's video, I will show you a loose, fun, and playful way to make an expressive and colorful drawing. I'll also share a personal sketchbook story, and I will give you a fun assignment at the end so you can try it yourself. You probably remember this from last week's Draw Tip Tuesday video. If you haven't watched it yet, you can watch it next. I'll add the link at the end of this video. Today we're drawing the same subject, but with completely different tools. Lately I've been enjoying using these water-soluble crayons. I use them quite a lot in my sketchbooks, and I love the bright colors and the bold marks and the textures you can make with them. I use them a lot for making a quick colorful wash first and then drawing on top. They are from the brand Caran and the line is Neocolor 2. The Neocolor 1 crayons are like standard wax crayons that resist water. They come in a large variety of beautiful and bright colors, and I'm picking my palette for this page. I'll pick 2 colors. I can always add more if I want to. Stabilo woody pencils, by the way, are kind of comparable to these crayons, although they come in different kinds of colors. I'll use water and a flat brush. Honestly, you can use any brush. If I'm on location, I just use my broad water brush, quick and easy. First, do some mark making. I once did this on the train and saw the woman sitting across the aisle look, and I had no idea what she was thinking, but I just simply smiled and she smiled back. Maybe she was thinking I was a crazy woman, who knows? Then I did exactly what I'm doing here, making a wash out of the scribbles. I used my water brush for it then. Hold that thought, I will tell you a little bit more about the encounter in the train. But let's first make this wash. The bigger the brush, the faster you'll make your wash. The crayons dilute like watercolor pencils do too, but the paint reminds me a bit more of gouache than watercolor, depending on the pigments. I love how this approach is so free and playful. It doesn't matter what marks you make. And in just an instant, you're making art instead of staring at a blank page, which honestly can be a bit intimidating. I leave a bit of the scribbly bits shine through the wash. That texture makes for an interesting underlayer for my drawing. I'm using the same reference photo again, and not because it's such a great photo, because it isn't, but because it's interesting to see how different tools can make for a completely different vibe and story, even with the same subject. The wash is still a bit damp, and because the crayon is water soluble, I don't need to wait for it to dry completely. I can draw on top of it. A normal crayon or colored pencil would not work on a damp surface. It wouldn't make any colorful marks, only just dent the paper. I'm drawing the coffee pot. The shape is a bit more familiar now that I've drawn it before, but I keep looking at it as if it's all new, following the curves of the pot and looking at the negative spaces. Just for fun, I'm switching to the other color. Crayons are quite blunt tools. It feels very different from using a pen or a pencil. Somehow holding a crayon in my hand makes me feel more playful, free to experiment, and maybe even less precious about how the drawing will turn out. I'm scribbling and coloring like a kid, carefree, loose. I'm making scribbles in the background. I need to decide whether or not I want to indicate the snowy branches and the stuff in the background. But first, I'll bring more focus to my main subject. I'm adding lines, some darks, really just exploring what the drawing needs as I go, following my instinct. It's that kind of creative instinct that kids have when they draw freely, and that you get back to and develop if you draw regularly. And that instinct tells me now that I can do whatever I want. What I want is scribbles in the background to make the coffee pot and the glass pop forward on the page. There's this buttery feeling of the crayons on the paper and I enjoy it a lot. So to come back to the story of doing this on the train, I started to draw people on the wash that I had made on the page. Having fun, being quick, because people could leave at the next stop. And the woman at the other side of the aisle was still there. And then she shifted to the seat closer to the aisle and says, "Sorry to bother you, but what material are you using?" I showed her the crayons and my drawing and we started talking. Turned out she's also an artist. And we had a lovely chat about art, the creative process and our drawing practices. Yet again, my sketchbook has proven to be a natural friend maker. And I love that this moment with a random stranger is now a memory never forgotten because it's embedded in the page I filled during the train ride. There's a bit of an empty space on the bottom left, and to bring in some balance, I'm adding a one-word title, using both colors. A bit more density to part of the background, and then I noticed that for cohesion, I could repeat the pink color with just a few marks on the coffee pot. Then a bit more dark in the glass, and that completes it all. Grab a kind of a blunt tool. If you have water-soluble crayons, great. Or a woody pencil, also good. But watercolor pencils, colored pencils, any tool actually will do. Just whatever you have. Now pick just a few colors, maybe just two like I did. Just keep it simple. If you do have water-soluble tools, then you can make some marks first and then make a wash out of that so that you have a colorful page to work on. If not, skip this part and then just move on to the drawing part. Draw something, anything. Maybe it's the same thing as last week. Remember, that was part of a daily routine, so it might just be there right in front of you right now. Draw it. Switch colors whenever you need or feel like it. Just don't really overthink this. Just have some fun with the two colors that you have in hand. Make scribbles in the background, just have some fun with it, play with it, layer your colors, do whatever feels right, feel free and be a kid again. That's what this is all about. And if you have a little bit of extra time or maybe some extra space, you can also add some writing, do a title, do whatever feels right. And if you need help for the lettering, you can watch this video next, so you get inspired. And I will see you next Tuesday. Bye!